Hello and welcome to How to Lead Your Business with Peter Cox. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. How will you lead them? Join us for this podcast where we dive deep into business leadership. This is the podcast where business owners and entrepreneurs learn how to grow their leadership to unlock business and personal growth, empower teams and drive success. Whether you're a startup or scaling to the next level, we've got the insights, the strategies, the intellectual property you need to grow in leadership, to fuel your team and fuel your business to go to the next level. Let's get into this. Hello again, Coxie here. Welcome to How to Lead Your Business podcast. Great you could join us. I've got a very special guest joining me, Donny Singe. Donny is ex-New Zealand military and was head of performance for the Manly Seagulls for 17 seasons with Des Hasler. He was also the director of athletic performance at the Canterbury Bulldogs for 2 seasons and oversaw the New Zealand National Rugby League team, Samoan national team and Cook Island national team for 13 campaigns as their head of performance. Donny's still part of the New Zealand Kiwis Future 2025 World Cup Challenge and is the newest member of our Leadership Dynamics team as a partner. Donny knows what he's talking about when it comes to seriously lifting people's performance. I thought it'd be really beneficial to get Donny in here to talk about something very close to his heart and mind. How to lift the performance of every team member so they give you their very best every day, and how to get your team united and working together. Drink in the knowledge and wisdom of this special man today and discover why he's considered a bit of a legend in his field. Donny Singe, enjoy. Well, good morning wherever you are on this beautiful planet Earth. I know people are coming in from different countries. I've got a real special guest that I'm going to interview today, Donny Singe, ex-military, high performance coach, leadership performance coach, newest coaching member to Leadership Dynamics, 22 years in the National Rugby League, 10 years in the National Rugby League, and currently does one-on-one coaching in the finance industry, police, military, real estate and construction. Good morning, Donny.
Good morning, Peter. Man, I didn't know I was so busy until you just read that out.
So how do we know each other, Donny?
Well, that's the thing, you know. Me, I was the head of performance with the Manly Seagulls, and you were that person working in the background, working in the fibers. So, you know, that was the best part of our relationship, was that whole leading the men in 2 different areas, but both essential to performance and actually very, very tightly intertwined. So that's how we met, was that you were at one part of the trench, helping with the mindsets of the men, helping with the culture of the club and getting those things in place that would help us perform every day. And I was at the other end, being very annoying, driving the men, influencing and trying to get them to turn up every day so that they could put their best and we could get on with some competitive football.
And why is leadership so important in professional sport, Donny?
Look, leadership is everything, you know, because in particular, the cauldron that we train in, you know, every single day, I'm not even talking about the game here, Peter, I'm talking about day-to-day training, going from session to session. You're just always on. There's so many components about a human being that you have to have, you know, good capacity, good competence, good confidence and good capability. And all of these things will come from the environment, from people around you, and essentially, as we're going to discuss, from yourself. So when we have leadership experts working with us, or as we get better and better at leading from the front, from the middle, from behind, or just right amongst it, that's those are the small elements that are going to pull us together. And that's the leadership that any business or any organization wants. It's literally a fiber that runs right throughout the culture. That's why it's important, so that when things go a bit belly up or things are going great, we know exactly where to be in that space ourselves.
How important is it for the leader to have good leaders around them?
Well, for a start, to be a good leader, you obviously you've been exposed to leaders yourself, or you've grown organically through great systems, or and I'm not talking about having to necessarily go off to Oxford, but good up listening, learning environmentally, organically from your parents, from your peers, taking lessons, recognizing, acknowledging things that have happened in your life, whether good or bad, taking a silver line. You don't have to be the ever optimist, but being very self-aware and situation, and aware of situations, having good awareness. These are all the things that are going into you all the time. Now, when you have good people around you, Peter, then obviously, it's like the old analogy: you're on the bus. Not only does everyone have a place and a purpose, but that feeling you get off them, that relationship, that recognition of who they are. Your ability to listen, to engage, that's really going to give you a great idea about where you can focus your strengths, where you can focus, your skills, but at the same time, you're very aware that the quality of the skills and the competencies around you are very high too.
How important is listening to success?
Well, if you're not listening to success, what are you listening to? And which direction are you going in? Of course, you've got to listen to success. You've got to listen to success because, most of us, that's, our two things. You want to be satisfied in life. You want to have good outcomes. You want to feel good all the time, and feel certain about who you are and where you're going. And success, success is really important to us in terms of what people see, what organizations recognize in you, what's happening around you, because with that success, it's contagious, man. It grows. And so it's very important to know, recognize, be mentored on what success is.
So tell us a little bit about your story and your journey. How did you end up in the high performance and,
Yeah, look, Peter, I am probably just like most of the other good leaders or people who work in that industry. I've always been surrounded by good people, good environments. I've had times, and you've been with me in some of them where we just thought, man, how are we going to get out of this? We've had 4 losses on the road. We've got to get these men up. So I've had a lot of experience, and I've been exposed to a lot. Came out of school. Not the greatest academic. I wasn't so good at school, but school was good to me. And what I mean is that environment, even though I was very fortunate, it was a hard environment, in the 80s and late 70s, being at school, teachers were different, straps and canes, and the odd get yanked out the hallway and cop and slap. But the thing is, that was a different time. I think the most important thing about me is when I left school, I knew, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? So I ended up in the military, and that's where I learnt the bulk about who I am, what I'm doing, and where I'm going. I learned a tremendous amount of skills when I was in that place, and I grew from there, surrounded by great peers, a tremendous amount of direction. Learned a lot of skills about myself and how to mix. I learned a lot of leadership, not by being a leader, but by being exposed to good leaders, knowing the importance of being part of those units. Out of there, went into Civvy Street, and as soon as I hit Civvy Street, I'll tell you a funny thing, Peter, wasn't sure what I was going to do and wasn't sure if I had enough skills, because I'd come from the military and I couldn't put it together. What am I going to do? I've been driving boats or running around in the bush, or what are these skills going to do? But it was the skills that I'd learned from the leaders around me, the good people. And that really set me up to have a set of sort of unconscious skills that people really appreciated and was lacking at that time when I came out of the military and went into different organizations. Ended up working for myself in the end because I love leading. I love that. And I love helping people get better, helping people find their way, or even just helping people find themselves. Absolutely love it. And the rest is history. I got picked up pretty much by my energy, personality, enthusiasm, and my skills and exercise. I worked for Japan Rugby, worked for a lot of different sports in Australia, hit the aerobic and the exercise scene. But all of this entire time, I was leading. I was out front, encouraging, driving, influencing, compelling people. That's what it's led to. It's led me to a nice meeting with Des Hasler, who said to me, "You're my guy. I'm going to bring you into the NRL." This was back in 2000. Well, we actually started in 2000, but 2003 I took over as the head of performance at the Manly Seagulls. They didn't call us that then. They called us head of strength and conditioning, and the performances come much later. However, as you know, it's a science now and an essential one. Went into the NRL. The rest is history. I've been working with men and women ever since, either even as athletes or just as business people who are looking to shake themselves up and move forward.
And how important is personal growth?
Well, you know, I would like to say that I am an example of personal growth. Not physical, you know, I'm only a short guy, small stature, but definitely I am a result of knowing and being aware of what personal growth is. How do I know? Because I know that when I came out of the military, before I even went in, I told you I wasn't very academic. I wasn't ready, you know, and however, later on in my years, I did go back to university, but not until I was 26, 27. I got a master's later on. They're academic things, but my growth was around that exposure I've spoken about, being in good units, learning. And here's a really important thing. And the NRL is a good example of it, and in particular, probably our relationship. I was with people who share. So not only were they willing to teach me, but like Des would have, Des and yourself were running a program, but you didn't hold it to yourselves. You shared it, and you made us part of it. And you encouraged us and taught us about the different things you were doing, and you allowed us to use our skills in the best places. And that's, for me, was probably one of my biggest growth spurts through that time. Most of all, I was allowed to make mistakes. And I made plenty of mistakes, mate, plenty of mistakes. Before we won premierships, before we took titles, I made lots of mistakes. But every time I made a mistake, I was asked, okay, can you recognize where you are? Can you see what's happened here? Where are we going now? What do you need? I in terms of personal growth, I have been blessed with having great support around me, including my wife and my family. And I've learned a lot about myself. Personal growth is number one if you want to succeed and be satisfied in life.
That's great. And how do you lift the performance and contributions of team members that you lead?
You know, it's really interesting because we know that we have systems and processes, and we have all these componentry to plans that help people dip in and find the things that can educate them and help them to be great leaders. What we know for certain is that, like anything, like an athlete on the field is performing at their highest level. You know, if you want to achieve in your business, if you want to keep performing yourself, if you want to acknowledge and recognize people and put them in the right places and stay on a vision, stay on that page, if you want to improve your culture, improve all these things, it starts with you. It starts with you. And we could probably close up right now by you going back to that growing stage again. Yeah, but here it is. When I work with people, when I work in organizations, I pull down individuals. And my main purpose is to help that individual feel and see and know and use what's inside them. And that sounds a bit corny, but the fact is this: how you turn up. Human beings are reciprocal. How you turn up is what you will draw from people. So that's my number one thing around that leadership, getting the best. So when I go in and I've got athletes and I want them to be at their best, so I'm helping them all the time to recognize what the little bars they have to reach, the little wins they have to get each day, so they build themselves up. They build up their capacity. We do that in a fitness way. You did that for us in a mental sense with them. But their capacity was always getting bigger, either to put something in, more importantly, to draw something out. But we also were smart enough to know, here's work, here's life, They're both there. Neither of them are going away. You've got to have capacity for both. And the next thing was, as you say, I remember we used to have those workshops, and the men would go in and they would understand why they were doing something and why it was important to do it well, so that we could be hardwired and we could go to places and operate at the highest levels, but that was natural to us. So when something went wrong, adversity, anything like that, what happened? We fell back, but we fell back to a high level. We didn't fall right back to the bottom. And so individuals have to have that capacity. They have to have competency. They have to be capable, and they have to be confident about who they are. And those are the 4 C's that I really drum in to every single person or athlete that I work with.
Can you repeat those 4 C's?
Capacity, your capacity, physical and mental. Your competence, i.e. whatever it is you're doing, be the best at it. Learn about it. Get down to detail. Make that a natural, hardwired thing in you. We talk about. Say, we'll go back a little bit. Say Thurston. When Thursday, I'll use rugby league, and I apologise to those who don't follow rugby league. But his job is in the heat of the battle. Is to kick the ball. And land it very precisely in a good position so the team can take an advantage. Now, the thing is, all around him, before he kicks that ball, he's getting whacked. He doesn't know if he's going left or right. There's people coming from all around, and they want to hurt you because they want that ball. So the thing is, all those little skills, they're hardwired into him. He's not even thinking about when that person hits him, his body's going to brace and react and respond and act. That's natural. That's all natural. He has this ability to just focus on where his foot's going to hit the ball, strike it, and where it's going to go. And that is him being very, very competent with all the skills that just get him through the day, his bread and butter, and then he's got plenty of space to think about the specific things. So that's capacity. Then you've got competency. Then you've got confidence. That's always going to come if you've got these 2 things, and you've got capability.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant, Donnie. Really good. How do you provide a platform for people to feel safe within the processes of personal growth and competency and capacity?
Yeah. Look, my main go-to is feedback. I'm a great communicator. And I encourage my performance staff around me to communicate and get that feedback. I love, feedback loops are so invaluable. Nearly, I would say, predominantly most championship coaches have fantastic, almost natural feedback loops. And again, we've experienced this where some of the best moments, the best light bulbs, the best safety check-in, is just words said in a hallway. On our way to a bathroom or on our way to a coffee, and you don't even have to plan it. And of course we debrief, we brief, and of course we have plans, and we do have meetings, and those are all structured, and they're all about topic, and they have a particular content. But the incidental feedback that you're providing, that connection every day, is very, very powerful, and people feel like they belong. And that, to me, is the strongest way to build a really good, safe environment, is having lots of interactions, making sure that the people around you know that they belong there and that you're aware that they're there. Now, you don't have to drill down every day and go and find them, but giving them feedback on where they are, that's absolutely invaluable, and that sense of belonging makes a person feel very safe.
Winning teams are constantly talking to each other, Donnie. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And would you agree that in a high performance environment, sometimes you have to hear the truth about your performance?
Look, as we say, the hard love core, but that truth, when presented in a way that says, you're the person we want. Everything about you, right up to where we are now, has been what we want and what we need. And as we move and go to the next level, and everyone is pushing, everyone is moving, if there is an area that needs some attention, then I'm here to help you with that. And it's for you. And it's for you. We're not talking bottom line. We're not talking, about being in a negative situation. It's, criticism in a positive or a productive sense is very, very good for the person, and these conversations are also essential. However, like I said, if we go back, say, 10 minutes ago, I was talking about you as a person, your skills, your communication skills, and I said we are reciprocal beings. Now, if you want to help somebody, but you're putting out a message and a language and a body language and attention, that they're paying more attention to you in an emotional state than what the issue is. So make no mistake, leaders, it starts with you. So if you want a good result, go in with a good mindset. Think about how you are putting that message and that criticism, and it's essential and how important it is. You think about how you're delivering that, because you are in charge. You are the leader. You are the senior. You're higher in the chain. And it's so if you want a good result, then you need to put out a good message the way you do it.
How does high performance in professional sport relate to business?
It's the same. It's the same. Individuals have to be in a good physical and mental space so they can come in and perform the duties and achieve what needs to be achieved on a daily basis, every day, to help that organization grow and be successful. Now, like an athlete, that person in your business, not only do they have to achieve the things that the business and the is trying to do or working on, but they've got to recover. They've got to come back the next day and hopefully have the same intensity to whatever it is that they're going to have to do on that day. You've got what we call them sponsors. We've got fans. Well, business. If you're going to make business, you've got to have a great great commercial team. You have to have all these different elements, just like a professional team. Head coach, performance unit, the science unit, the medical unit, the well-being unit, the coaching unit, the marketing unit, the finance unit. All of these componentries are getting that team out on the field. And when we go into a business, it's the same thing. Called different things, maybe put in different locations. Same outcome. The business wants to thrive. In order for the business to thrive, the people have to flourish. It's the same as athletes. Athletes can only perform with what they have in the moment. People in business will only give you what they have in the moment. So in terms of getting goals, having wins, looking after your people, acknowledging and recognizing that there are elements away from work which will have a very substantial influence on how you are. And making these connections through good leadership are going to help you stay on top of those things.
When you grow people, you grow organisations. When you grow athletes, you grow the effectiveness of high performance teams like in the National Rugby League. Leadership dynamics, which you've become part of, the clients use us three ways. They use us one-on-one, they use us to work with teams, and they use us at a board level.
Yeah.
Right? With the one-on-one process, which you used in professional sport and you now use it in corporate Australia.
Yep.
How important is it to be led one-on-one by someone that's independent?
That's another game changer, because when you're able to sit down in a safe environment and you've got outcomes and you've looked at solutions, but at the same time you've got somebody there who is actually connecting with you and letting you lead, all of these elements to get to success and solution-based coaching and finding a way. That goes without saying, because that's what you're there for. However, when you get to one-on-one coaching, you've got somebody who's sitting across from you now or engaging with you who wants to help you unpack where you are. And even in an emotional state, you've got somebody there who is listening to you, letting you unpack, but then asking you hard questions. But the hard questions, they sound absolutely relevant and absolutely directed in the right place for where you need to go. And some of them hurt. You know that, Pete. We're both one-to-one coaches. And we know we're going to get people looking at you and they look back at you. And again, that's what we're trained at. We're going to get a positive response out of there. But if people want to set really clear and realistic expectations upon themselves, then there's going to be times where they're going to unpack themselves. The one-to-one coaching, you're sitting in front of a person who's had access to lots of different areas of the business and personalities and people and levels. So already, you've got somebody there who really does empathize and understand where you are in the space. And another thing I might add too with that one-to-one, the thing I love about it the most and that we make quite clear, it's always confidential. And the thing is, if something needs to be shared or if something is important enough for us as coaches, and I do this with my athletes, I always ask them, I let them know. I said, listen, do you think that's something that maybe you should be speaking to with Coxie or speaking to with Des or speaking to with wherever I am, in a national team or whatever. And these are the benefits of one-to-one coaching. It's very personal, but at the same time, it's very client-led but solution-based.
Intuition and flexibility. What do you think leaders need to be more intuitive about and more flexible about when they lead people and lead teams?
Yeah, you've seen me stretch. I'm not flexible at all. But, the thing with that is those are, I would say that those are the elements that not only allow you to put yourself in the right place with the right understanding, but they're very attractive. They're very attractive traits of people. When you see somebody taking something, mulling it over, introducing their own intuitive look at it, being creative, being supportive, and then on the other side, allowing you the flexibility is your ability to let your client go wherever it is they need to go and then bring them back and keep them back on point. Two very, very important and sometimes not natural, but definitely can be coached, developed, and taught to people who want to succeed in that leading space.
The use of solution-focused coaching. That's when I mentor my clients, I look at the behaviours that they need to grow as leaders so that the results they want to achieve in their business, the vision they have of the business will happen. So I'm looking at solutions for how they can become a better leader of their business or that team. Okay, yeah. So how important do you believe solution-focused coaching is one-on-one when you are working with elite athletes and business people in Australia?
Yeah, well, look, solutions by the very nature of the word, it tells you, there's a point that we're heading towards, or there's an outcome that's needed. So when you identify those, and again, if we take sport, we play, once a week, or we've got this game coming up, and all the way to that game, we're training and we're practicing different things, and we're trying to get ourselves in a good place. And there's all these little outcomes along the way. And then sometimes we're going to hit barriers. Man, barriers are there, and the barriers could be internal barriers or they could be perceived as external barriers. But by getting to this point where we can talk about what is that outcome, what is that barrier, and then work backwards from that. Look at how we're unpacking it. Look at why, these particular things or these steps. What have we missed? Where is it going? Where could it go? And sometimes it's like, why are we always ending up, over here? Why am I just getting caught up in business instead of getting on with business? Why am I not saving in this area? Why am I not being, So we're looking at some barriers. We're looking at some positive outcomes, and then we're working our way back from there in stages to find out what are the behaviours, what are the habits that are occurring in an individual, and we need to take the best ones, and we need our client to recognise that is and feel, that does feel right now. Yes, I am going to address that. We're going to work around that. So solution-based coaching to me, is a very, very effective and fast way to get somebody's honesty and get them to have a really good look at themselves.
With all the high performance teams you've been involved in, you've experienced some amazing moments in your career. 80,000 people in the stadium, grand finals. How many grand finals have you been involved in, Donnie? Is it 4 or 5?
4. I've been in 4, and you were with me for a couple of those too, and we had and we had a couple of wins, which is which is a really special moment. But not only that, it's not until you finish that you sort of look back and recognise what it took on a daily basis to get in that moment and win that moment. And then guess what? We had a cup of coffee and we all cheered, and then we got on with the next one, didn't we?
So winning. We want to win in pro sport. We want to win in business.
Yeah.
Business owners that I lead and mentor want to grow their businesses, create a certain amount of revenue, achieve the vision that they have for the business.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's some key leadership behaviours that you believe a business owner needs to grow to create a winning environment as the leader?
Look, number one is you got to know where you're going. You got to know where you're going, Pete. When we look at organisations and even teams, until you start to get that whole squad on that same page, and you do all your individual work and bringing them together. If you've got half of your organisation which don't know what the message is, don't know where you're going, they're not quite sure about. They're getting all the things humming along, but they're not really sure about what's the go here. Where are we going? So the first place that I would always be looking at is that the members, your employees, that they know where they're going and they know what's expected of them. They have a lot of purpose. Those clear expectations for them are essential, and that would be the number one thing in teams too. Where are we going? Not only how are we getting there, what's your place? What's your job here? And when I say job, I mean what is your real purpose? Not only your own as you work to grow your own life, but what you're doing here and what your purpose is in the organisation. So that would be my number one thing.
Mm-hmm. Great leaders cast vision. Right? The vision is so important because otherwise people don't know how to follow, right? They need to know where we're going.
Yeah.
All right? Now, to grow engagement, the research we've done in leadership dynamics, engagement comes from setting clear expectations. Only when I know what's expected of me do I become more engaged in my role. Okay, there's a difference between roles and responsibilities and knowing what's expected of me. How important is it when you lead people one-on-one to set clear expectations of what you expect from that individual?
Yeah, look, it's number one. It's number one. Because with that, we start throwing those other words around, Peter: accountability, responsibility, and as a leader, when I look at words like that, it's quite important to put them in the right place too. So for me, if I'm looking up my chain, I'm thinking about who I'm accountable to. If I'm looking at somebody who's working around me, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but if they're sort of working in areas that are at the next level down, I'm responsible to them. I'm responsible for their success, for their performance, and they're accountable to me. So that's how I like to look at it. And I'm accountable to Des, if that's our example, or Madge, or whoever it is. But I'm responsible for the people around me, and I think that what you're talking about, is so important for people in organisations as leaders to understand that. If you want good buy-in, you've got to have clear expectations, clear goals, your vision, and you've got to let them know. We talked about flexibility and choosing. It might change. The vision might change, It could change somewhere, but everybody, because it's transparent, can see why these things are happening. So nobody's sitting in the dark.
If you were a business owner listening to this right now, what's 3 things that you would implement to grow a high performance culture in the business?
Number one is I would immediately think to myself, what can I develop in myself? I'm as leaders, we always know you're always growing. What can I do for myself to help me be a stronger or more astute or more effective leader? That would be number one. Number two, what am I doing? What am I providing for my staff? What am I, here I am and I want this. How am I helping everybody else around me to achieve that? So I'd be looking at that type of structure and program, to get them on that same page. And then I'd be looking at my goal, my organizational purpose. Is it still the same? Is it still the same direction and outcome that I'm looking for? Because the only way that the quality comes to that, or evolution comes to that, or some form of recognition of success and satisfaction comes from that, is with what you're putting into it and how you're feeling. So looking at yourself and growing, looking at the people around you that you're responsible for and growing them, and then looking at the whole outcome of the goal. Are we still on track?
How important is it to promote inclusion in a team, to make people feel part of it?
Yeah. Well, the thing about inclusion is, like we said before, we spoke about belonging. And I think I've only ever experienced, I won't say where it was, but I've actually experienced in my career only once a place where I thought to myself, I don't know if I fit here. Now, obviously I did, and I did the job. But the closeness that I had feeling with the particular culture at the time, it was completely different. I don't think I did my best work there. So inclusion is keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening around you, getting that biofeedback, but also understanding that, if people belong and people feel included and they feel like they're contributing, well, man, you're going to get a lot of energy. You're going to get a lot of enthusiasm. And the best part is, people who feel included, people who feel they belong, they own wins and they own mistakes. And this is the real power of your leadership game. It's not about leading men and women into places where you're always winning, because that's you're doing a lot of hard work behind the scene, and the result speaks for itself. But it's very easy to keep a happy culture. But when you're up and down, or when you're going into tough places, that's where all the leadership work, all the discipline, all the process, that's where that really counts. That's where you get your bang for buck.
So if you're a business owner, what's 3 things you need to do to grow inclusiveness? Okay.
Number one, set up those feedback loops. Get yourself out there. You as the leader, make yourself available. Now, we know that you might be time poor. We know that. But there are lots of ways that you can have a presence without having to physically be there. Okay. So have a look at your presence amongst your organization and see if you really are, able to connect as a network. If you have the luxury of doing that physically, that's fantastic. Like you and I both know, with the coaches we've worked with, they're very busy, they're very engaged. That's, they go up there, they do all the metrics and the data and the stats, and then they go over the game plan, then they have the meetings, they put us all together. And then every now and then they'll just come strolling through the gym, or they'll take a moment after training to work with somebody. Find a way to be present. That's number one. And then those feedback loops, get those feedback loops going and use them. Here's the thing. Sometimes we set up these things in high performance. Testing. We have a battery of tests. We get results. They go through hell to get these results, And then sometimes, organizations can be a bit lax at getting those results with a bit of feedback back to people. Those are essential. Those are absolutely essential. It's no good you and me, Pete, at the end sitting there, geez, he's a great player. You see him out there on the field today, geez, he hit a 10.4 on that sprint. He looked so strong, he looked athletic, and he brought so much energy to the session. Well, that's great. That's you and me talking about it. Woo-hoo, Someone's got to tell him. Someone's got to tell him. Someone's got to let him or her know that they were the good stuff today. And you don't have to blow smoke. It's really simple. You did that well. You did that really well. And hey, I got to tell you, you brought a lot of energy in there today. Well done. That's it. So feedback loops, looking at data, looking at being on top of project managers. The third thing is know your senior staff. Know your senior staff. It only takes one person to have a negative attitude or be in a place, and it's not always their fault. We're human beings. What we're talking about today, Peter, is helping human beings. And so when I hear somebody, and I get this a lot, people like to look at other people in chains and say that they're the barrier. Guess what? Don't worry about it. Like I said, go back to Rule 101, how you come across, what you do. Get feedback, help them, look at things, give them evidence of how this particular behavior is not working, and then, work back with them. And then what I just said to you is on them. It's about you. I want you here, but we've got to do this better. So having a presence, building great feedback loops, current feedback loops, effective feedback loops, and knowing your people, in particular your senior management, because they're your conduit. They're your conduit. If you do not know who and what they are, and you're letting them do whatever they want, well, that could be something that's got a little bit of a stoppage. But everybody wants to learn. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to be successful, and everybody wants to be satisfied. So there's a massive opening here for you to get in there, help your staff grow, and get a better result for the whole organisation.
What a powerful hour of power we're having here with Donny Singe. You're being Donny Singe to whoever you are watching this all over the world. We've got about 5 or 6 countries plugging into this at the moment, Donny. And, when Leadership Dynamics was started in 2004, 19 years ago, as you know, Donny, yeah. And I'm at 100%, 95% capacity with my one-on-one mentoringship to Leadership Dynamics. And I approached Donny to become the first Leadership Dynamics consultant, coaching consultant, who's going to come under my leadership. And as I continue to grow and expand Leadership Dynamics, Donny's now going to start doing what Coxie's been doing for 19 years, working one-on-one and with teams within Leadership Dynamics, growing people to grow organisations, growing people to grow teams, growing effective leaders, equipping leaders to have more effective leaders around them, evolving people from management to team leadership. And Donny's going to be part of that process moving forward. For those of you that are meeting Donny for the first time, he's at the top of his game in professional sport, in high-performance coaching. He's a very rare human being on this planet. He's done amazing things in his career, but the most important thing about Donny Singe is just a great human being. And I want to surround myself with great humans. And there's no doubt that you are feeling Donny's human side today. What a special man, how he's giving from his heart today, wanting to make a difference to whoever's watching this and listening to this podcast right now. Now, we've got a special offer for those that are new on the podcast today. I'm going to try and pull this offer up, but it hasn't come up. But we've got a 50% discount on my online program, High Performance Team Masterclass. It's $597 down from $997. I don't have the code, but if you go to the Leadership Dynamics website, There is a code there. If you are a new person checking out Leadership Dynamics today, if you're looking for an online program to grow your leadership, which will require 30 minutes a week of your time being mentored by me one-on-one, then go to the Leadership Dynamics website. There's a code there where you can plug in that code and get a $400 discount on the $997 program. But I just want to thank Donnie for his time. If there's one thing, Donnie, you would leave with our people today that are on this podcast, what would you say?
I would say look after yourself, your capacity, the energy, the life force, your willingness to learn and to grow. It all comes from your physical and mental capacity. Drink your water, eat good food, do your exercise, and sleep. Get those 4 things going, because everything starts with you. Peter and I have talked about so many things about leadership and about process, and believe me, I know firsthand how effective Peter is, because I've been part of championship cultures over 20-something years. One thing we forgot to say, Pete, don't forget, our families know each other. And this is what it's about too, is that not only when we were in the thick of it and we were sharing all the intellectual stuff and all the great leadership stuff and all of that, but at the same time we were getting to know each other. I know Peter's children, I know his wife, and that was just a natural organic growth. Getting to know people and showing each other. And for both of us, that was a very powerful thing. But look after yourself, because I'm telling you now, without you, without your inner engine, without your enthusiasm, your energy, health, then, you're going to always just start off the back foot. Before you sit down in front of somebody like Peter, or the best part is when you're with myself and Peter at some stage, it's about you, how you turn up every day.
Great message. Thank you for your time, Donnie. And that's another Hour Power live podcast with Donny Singe, high performance coach. And look forward to seeing you at the next Hour Power, which is in September, Monday, 2nd of September, 6:30 a.m. Sydney time will be our next guest speaker, and we'll promote that in the next few weeks. Okay, thanks for your time, Donnie.
You're welcome. Yeah. Stay well, be well, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers.
That's a wrap for today. Until next time, check out our online high performance team masterclass. It's got everyone talking. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are using that online program now to lead their teams more effectively and to create a high performance environment. There's no assignments, no exams. It's packed full of practical strategies and resources to help you build and grow the right team in a thriving culture to drive your business forward with you. Go to leadershipdynamics.com.au for all the details. If you found value in today's episode, subscribe, leave us a review, share it with your network. I'm sharing a lot of my leadership journey, and I know it'll make a difference in your life to achieve the vision and the dreams that you have for your business and your life. Keep climbing.